The Seeds of Time by Fredric Jameson is an expansion of his Welleck Library lecture series, delivered at the University of California, Irvine. In this work, Jameson takes a significant leap forward from his prior influential study, postmodernism, or the cultural logic of late capitalism, where he first tackled the pervasive trends of postmodernity. In The Seeds of Time, Jameson provides a more nuanced reflection on the limitations of contemporary thinking regarding utopia, totality, innovation, socialism, and the architectural debates of the 1990s. His text offers an intricate exploration of what these concepts mean in the context of late capitalism and seeks to map possible pathways toward future alternatives. In the first section, The Antinomies of Postmodernity, Jameson engages in a detailed critique of postmodern theory. He argues that contemporary cultural analysis has shifted from the dynamic, dialectical contradictions that marked previous eras to an intellectual impasse characterized by antinomies paradoxes that cannot be resolved. This stagnation, according to Jameson, reflects the colonization of every aspect of life by late capitalism. The overarching capitalist system has so thoroughly infiltrated modern existence that even imagining alternatives or revolutionary change has become difficult. Jameson famously observes that it seems easier for us today to imagine the thoroughgoing deterioration of the earth and of nature than the breakdown of late capitalism. This stark statement underscores the degree to which late capitalism has embedded itself into the cultural, economic, and psychological landscape. The impasse of postmodernity, then, is not merely an intellectual condition, but a broader social symptom of this capitalist hegemony. Antinomies such as time and space, heterogeneity and homogeneity, anti-essentialism and naturalism, utopia and conservatism, all illustrate this phenomenon. Jameson suggests that the future, what he calls the missing next tick of the clock, will be revealed only when we manage to break through this paralyzing stasis and rediscover the potential for praxis, a renewed form of collective action that transcends the current deadlock. While Jameson's theoretical framework is both comprehensive and groundbreaking, some critics argue that his focus on First World culture in The Seeds of Time limits his perspective. In particular, postcolonial theorists like Homi K. Barber might critique Jameson's relatively limited attention to the specific strategies through which post-colonial subjects resist the dominant cultural and economic structures of late capitalism. Barber emphasizes the importance of agency and performative resistance in post-colonial settings, and this emphasis is largely absent from Jameson's analysis. Nonetheless, the work remains an indispensable contribution to understanding the deep entrenchment of capitalism in cultural and social life. In the second section, Utopia, Modernism, and Death, Jameson shifts from an analysis of postmodern theory to a more concrete examination of utopia in Second World literature. His primary example is Andrei Platonov's Soviet novel Shvongur, a work that has recently been rediscovered after being largely neglected for decades. Written in the late 1920s, Shvongur explores the early years of Soviet communism, depicting the period between the 1917 revolution and the new economic policies of 1923. Jameson finds great value in the novel's depiction of social modernization and argues that it offers a glimpse of what a socialist culture might look like in the future, a future that, by Jameson's time, had already witnessed the collapse of many socialist institutions. The paradox of utopia, as Jameson frames it, is that it simultaneously promises a radical leveling of social distinctions and an erasure of individual identity. This post-individualist vision offers anonymity as a positive force and as a defining feature of the democratic community. Yet, within the logic of capitalism, this anonymity is often equated with death. Jameson's reading of Chavoncourt probes these internal contradictions, examining how the novel handles utopia's complexities through modernist irony, sexuality, and portrayals of marginalized peasants, the revolution's miscellaneous peasants, whom Jameson describes as home-made people on vacation from imperialism, provide a fascinating case study of how utopian subjects might flourish outside the constraints of capitalist norms. In Jameson's analysis, these misfit characters, freed from bourgeois individualism and social conformity, embody a new form of human potential. They grow wild, like plants, exhibiting the kinds of compulsive or neurotic behaviors that might be pathologized in a capitalist society, but are celebrated in the world of utopian freedom. Platonov's portrayal of these characters as seeds from some nameless weep attic resonates with contemporary discussions of renegade subjectivity, particularly in queer theory, where identities are seen as fluid, unfixed, and outside the mainstream. The final section of The Seeds of Time, titled The Constraints of Postmodernism, turns to the question of space, architecture, and public life. Jameson surveys various architectural projects of the late 20th century, including Rem Koolhaas's La Bibliothèque de France and the Zeebrugge Sea Terminal, Peter Eisenman's University Art Museum at California State University Long Beach, and the Wexner Center for the Arts at Ohio State University. He also engages with the critical regionalist movement, as described by Kenneth Frampton, Lena Lefebvre, and Alexander Zanis. Through these discussions, Jameson explores the ways in which modernist architecture grapples with the tensions between totality and innovation, and how this dynamic is translated into the large-scale projects of postmodernity. For Jameson, Koolhaas's designs, particularly the Library of France, encapsulate the postmodern condition. The library's various rooms, with their distinct functions, are suspended within a vast structure, like floating organs, representing an internalized multiplicity of spatial experiences. This multiplicity finds its counterpart in the external world of urban forms, which Jameson discusses through Robert Venturi's theories of Las Vegas Strip messages and Peter Eisenman's architectural deconstructions. These spatial contradictions, according to Jameson, mirror the deeper temporal and material contradictions of postmodernity, where the illusion of spatial unity masks profound incommensurabilities. The chapter concludes by analyzing the clash between global modernization and critical regionalism. The latter movement seeks to resist the standardization and replication of built spaces under late capitalism, grounding architectural designs in the local. the tectonic, and the telluric. Jameson finds in critical regionalism a form of resistance to the homogenizing forces of global capitalism, particularly in its reliance on materials and structures that emphasize local specificity.